All right, tonight we're going to take a hopefully relatively brief look at SmartThings controlling my Xiaomi vacuum. This is the Mi Bot Generation 1. Of course, my cat here, Mr. Booker, always likes to see what's going on. But we're going to take a look. Basically, what happens is the first thing you need to do is connect your Mi Home account to Alexa. And she's behind me. I should have muted her, so she's going to listen the whole time. So that way you can start and stop the vacuum just by saying, wake word, turn on the downstairs vacuum, or turn off the downstairs vacuum. You can probably hear her yelling at me in the background. So that's the easy part. That way you can just control it with your voice. But then when it gets fun is when you can tie it into SmartThings. So there's a custom device handler that somebody much better at coding than me developed. And when you install it, it shows up in SmartThings as a switch, but it shows up to Alexa as Alexa Stop as a contact sensor. So you can use routines through your Echo devices that start and stop based on SmartThings contact sensors. So what that means is this simulated switch in SmartThings shows up as a contact sensor in my Echo device. So that's pretty cool. So then all you have to do is turn on that switch. So this is down vac. I did not call it downstairs vacuum because that's what the Echo device sees that as. So that way, if this gets started through SmartThings, I can still give the voice command to turn off the downstairs vacuum and things won't get out of sync. At least that's the best way that I found to do it so far. I'm sure there's better, more efficient ways to do it, but it is what it is. So then, the way that it works for my setup, instead of just having the one simulated switch that controls everything, you can see I've got the down vac, and sorry, this is blurry, and then the downstairs vac contact for Alexa. Now this here, the downstairs vac contact for Alexa, is what the Echo devices see as a contact, but SmartThings sees as a simulated switch. So what happens, so just to make it as easy as possible, if you want to, all you have to do is create this device handler, and then the device, change the device type, and then when you turn this on, the dot sees the contact as open and starts the vacuum. But when I was testing this, I accidentally started the vacuum a couple times while my daughter was sleeping. So after a brief panic and sprint across the house to stop the vacuum, I decided I needed a safety of some sort. So WebCore is one of my best friends. So then what I did was I created another simulated switch for each vacuum. So each vacuum has two switches. One is the one that shows up as a contact on Alexa. And then the other one is right here, down vac. And then the safety is vacuum controls. So I've got a WebCore piston that runs, and it's restricted only if vacuum controls is on. Only when vacuum controls is on. If down vac turns on, then downstairs vac contact for Alexa turns on, which opens the contact over here and starts the vacuum. And then when down vac turns off, the contact, what the dot sees as the contact, turns off. And then I've got another routine over here that stops the vacuum. So for two vacuums, I've got two routines each. So I had to set up 4 routines in my Alexa app. But it all works pretty well. So then what I did is coming over here to action tiles. Now this isn't the panel that it normally runs on, but that one somehow has a really crappy battery right now, so I couldn't move it. So this panel is just way out of proportion. It's normally on a Fire 10, but we're looking at it on a Fire 8. So we, just to kind of show the safety, we turn off vacuum operation, and then we see up here on the tablet that it's turned off. So what happens now for downstairs, and the vacuum is right next to me, so when I turn on this switch, nothing happens except for that switch turns on. And that's what I want. That way, if I accidentally turn on the vacuum, if I hit the wrong button on a panel, or if I'm not paying attention and I turn that on, if the vacuum operations or vacuum controls switch is off, the vacuum doesn't run. It's a good safety. Most people don't need it, but you know, if you want to be able to restrict the vacuum from accidentally starting, then it's just an extra step. So then we'll turn this off. Oops. So you can see it's off up here. And then we'll turn the vacuum operation switch on. And then it's going to get loud here in just a second. But what you'll see when I turn the downstairs vac switch on, which is down vac up here, and you can just rename these in action tiles, so that's why the names don't match everything. It just, the naming convention is a little bit different for the panels. So when down vac turns on, then down vac contact for her turns on, which starts the routine over here, which would start the vacuum over there. So our vacuum operations is on, so we're going to go ahead and hit that guy. You see the contact turn on, and then the vacuum takes off. So then to go the other way, I'm just going to turn that off. And then you'll see the contact switch turns off. And then the vacuum is going to dock itself. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll put a link to the custom device handler in the comments, or I'm sorry, in the description. So that way you can install that. But it's just kind of to me, a really cool way to control my vacuums through SmartThings. And then the bonus for this is I can schedule the vacuums through SmartThings instead of through the Xiaomi app. And the biggest benefit to that is it makes it really, really easy for me to just override the schedule. The one down here is set to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 8:15. But if for any reason I don't want the vacuums to run on schedule, all I do is turn that off. And that's another safety, a lot like the vac control switch. It's another restriction in a different piston where if that switch is off, then the piston won't fire and it won't turn on this switch here, which starts the routine right all the way through to get the vacuum going. So we'll turn that back on. It's not going to run on schedule for a couple days, but there's no reason for me to turn it off. And then just going back to the safety, this right here, with the same piston that controls the scheduling, it automatically turns off this vacuum operation switch at 8 o'clock, which is about the time the kiddo goes down for the night. Just to give me that extra safety, I guess, if you will, just to make sure that I don't accidentally start the vacuum when I don't want it to. But I think that about wraps it up. Like usual, it's a longer video than I meant it to be. I need to work on being a little bit more concise. Maybe a little more prep, but you know, it is what it is. But that's how it is. That's how it goes. The simulated contact turns on, the simulated switch in SmartThings turns on, which presents to the Echo device as a contact. And then the Echo device has a routine. When that contact opens, it turns on the vacuum, and vice versa for when it closes. And then again, the vac controls switch here, it's just a restriction for my web core pistons, so those only run when that switch is on, so I can make sure that I don't accidentally start the vacuum at an inopportune time. But anyway, there it is. I think it's pretty cool.